And when he fed me up, it was like 10 liters. What's up, guys? So we are a couple hours out from the seminar now. It's the second day here in Dublin. Had a decent sleep. Been a little behind on work. We had a long day yesterday with the travel, flight delayed, getting food shopped, getting settled here. The guy who rents this place out, he liked to talk as well. And just a busy day yesterday in terms of check-ins. I just took on a new client, or well, it's an old client who's coming back, who's prepping with another coach. Yeah, he wanted to get back to me. He's 7 weeks out, and there's a lot of things to address, so I spent quite some time getting him settled. And yeah, we're just closing in on shows. I have a lot of people prepping, so most of my guys and girls are checking in almost daily at this point. So, you know, Saturday being a busy check-in day already with all the extra prep check-ins, there was just a lot. So didn't finish everything yesterday, so I've been up for some hours now. I did my check-in fasted for Callum today as supposed to be a high day, and I'm assuming that we're gonna stick to that plan. I'm yet to hear back from him. Visuals were decent. My body weight was almost at a new low. I know it's slightly higher than it would have been because my timing of water and sodium yesterday was totally skewed. I had majority of my water early in the day, and I had the majority of my sodium late in the day. So I know I've been more retentive this morning than I would have been. But now, as I said, I've been up for 2 hours now, roughly. I've had a little bit of caffeine. I've had some water. I've had around almost 2 liters of fluid at this point, with the goal being 10 liters today on my high day, because we're about to put in 1,000 grams of carbs. Remember, it's called carbohydrates. So you need to hydrate those carbons. But yeah, so I'm actually gonna go and do some pictures again just to see the difference in the look now that I know that I'm a little more hydrated. I had 1 gram of salt so far from the Monster as well, and I know that I will have flushed some of that retention from the morning. But right now I'm just preparing my slides for the seminar, which I'm speaking at in like 3 hours. I'm not fully done with the actual presentation itself, but you know, most of this I'm gonna speak on training and contest prep, so it's a topic that is very close to my heart, something I think is overlooked, unfortunately, but hopefully we can change that a bit with my presentation today. But yeah, I think that was most of it. Obviously, you're going to see me be eating a lot of food today. It's 1,000 grams of carbs, 150 grams of fat, so it's more than 6,000 calories. It's 250 grams of protein. So I'm going to aim for 5 meals with roughly 200 grams of carbs each, 30 grams of fat, 50 grams of protein. And when I have these days with that much food, I do allow a little bit of fun foods, so to speak. So I bought 1 cookie in the supermarket, for example. I bought some Rice Krispie treats. You know, I'm adding more simple sugars simply to keep stomach and food volume lower and not put too much stress on my digestive system. With how many years I've got in this game now, I know what stuff my stomach can tolerate. I know, Christian, for example, yesterday you were suggesting me some like pre-cooked meals, like some potato meat, whatever, pre-cooked meal, and it's like, I know I won't tolerate that, but I can tolerate stuff like a cookie or a muffin or whatever. But it obviously needs to be stuff where we can track it, so it needs to have its nutritional values printed on it. So you'll see me have some different types of foods today, and I'm obviously going to be very aware of how my digestion feels. But like I said, I've done this so many times now, and 1,000 grams of carbs is far from the most I've ever put down. Callum's given me 1,500 grams of carbs before, so I know how to go to these, how to approach these days. But yeah, let me finish up this slideshow, and we'll go and do some check-ins, and or go and do some pictures, and then I need to start eating soon as well. All right, guys, so first meal is about to go down. Gonna run through what I'm having, the macros, a little bit of the thought process. Right now I'm just setting up The Mandalorian, which is the series I'm watching right now. Right, but first meal here of this high day. As I said, the macros today is gonna be 250 protein, 1,000 grams of carbs, 150 grams of fat. So I'm gonna try and have 5 equal meals of 50 grams of protein, 200 grams of carbs, and 30 grams of fat each. So what I'm having here is I'm having 65 grams of oats, 5 grams of pecans, 20 grams of jam. Then we have 3 crumpets, 1 with some light cream cheese, 2 with peanut butter and more jam. Then we have a multi-seed bagel with light cream cheese and some Parmesan. And then we've got 3 Rice Krispie bars. So this is exactly 200 grams of carbs. It's 55 grams of protein and 32 grams of fat. So there's a little bit of trans fats from the cheeses, but that's very minor, it's light, and there's like 10 grams of Parmesan. And then we have some good fats from the pecans and the peanut butter. And then there's obviously some trace fats from the oats, the crumpets, the bagel, and from the Rice Krispies. And in terms of simple sugars, we've obviously got 40 grams of jam in total. So that's gonna be roughly 50% actual fruit. So that's 20 grams of carbs from fruit and 20 grams of carbs from sugar. And the Rice Krispie treats, I think they are around 20 grams of sugar in total as well. And I've also obviously tried to get some fiber here. I got a little bit of oats and that multi-seed bagel, and then a little bit from the crumpets. And then we obviously got my supplements. We've got my supplement sponsor, Supreme Sups, making sure I get what I need. So here we have a serving of, or the AM serving. So my health sups are split in an AM and PM serving. So I use the HPN Kidney Flush, I use the Supplement Needs Liver Stack, and I use the Supplement Needs Heart Stack. So I've got half a day's serving of each of those in here. Then we got 200 micrograms of SLU-PP332. We got 20 milligrams of Winstrol. We got 25 milligrams of Proviron, and we've got 1 serving of Supplement Needs or curcumin. On my rest days, I double my curcumin doses to get that extra benefit of the anti-inflammatories. We don't train today, so I don't mind having that extra bit of anti-inflammatories in. Obviously, you don't want to take anti-inflammatory supplements around training because we want the inflammatory response from our training session. But yeah, guys, no more talking. It is time to dive in.
Man, it feel good. I just...
What your body is trying to do is trying to survive. In a contest prep, your body is trying to survive. What does your body have in excess of? Muscle. What does it have not an excess of? Body fat. So your body will much rather let go of muscle at this point than it will let go of body fat. So if you do not go in the gym and give your body a reason to hang on to muscle, it's going to fuck off. Then some people, they let the intensity go and they make up for it with more training volume. I'm not training as hard, so I'm going to train more. It's going to dig a deeper recovery hole. It's way better to train well and a little bit than to train a lot and train shit. Jumping programs, because people get tired of doing shit, they just start jumping programs. Ignoring biofeedback, some people would just push through. We all know the people that, it's a typical bodybuilder thing, rather do more and bury themselves in work, but that's also one thing that can make muscle fuck off. And then obviously getting injured is probably the worst thing that can happen in a prep for obvious reasons. But this is not the time when we're actually trying to grow. The goal of contest prep is not to grow muscle in terms of writing an excess or X number in your logbook. It's not the time to get fancy and try all new movements and stuff. Like if I have people who need a new training program or whatever because they got tired of it and they're about to start a prep, I might change, a few things. But you start contest prep, you're 12 weeks out, you don't want to spend 4 weeks learning a new movement. Stick to stuff that's already implemented, that's already there. Chances are you'll be better off doing a hack squat. Deliver a training program to a client and expect them to execute it how you think they're executing it. And if you don't know, you don't know. So the only way to know how your clients are training is if you know how they're training. You will be amazed how hand out the same program to 10 different people and you will see 10 different ways of training, okay? Assessing training footage is probably the thing that will make your clients grow the most short and long term. If you can fix people's training, because people are assholes when it comes to training. Performance, obviously. So visually, we might see a flat look, we might see a deflated look, and an atrophied. I have no clue if I spelled that correctly. In a contest prep, I think when it comes to tracking logbook numbers, there is going to be an expected drop off in performance as people get shredded. But there's a difference between getting flat and losing a rep here and there, and their performance actually dropping. If their performance is actually dropping, it will show visually. So if they're saying, I'm losing performance, ask how bad is it, and what are the trends? Because if you're not seeing it visually, if you're not seeing the physique worsen, it's okay. They might just be, a little flat, especially if the athlete is natural, because we're not going to be able to maintain that performance as well. Now, managing that fatigue visually, if the athlete is flat, might need a refeed. Or electrolyte management, as I said, if people are holding water, it could be an electrolyte thing. It could also just be that they need rest. Physically, the tools that we have available to us will be a devolume or a deload, depending on the athlete. If you have someone who's super, super strong and moving some crazy weights in the gym, deloading might be worth more than devoluming because their volume probably is pretty low at that point already. But most people, when it comes to fatigue, will need lower volume instead of lower intensities. So what I do is, let's say someone have typically 2 working sets on compound lifts and they have 3 working sets on isolation. I tell them to remove 1 set from each exercise during a deload or a devolume, because the volume of training is what's causing most fatigue in bodybuilders, generally speaking, unless you're crazy strong. Someone like Coleman, he would need a deload, not a devolume. Assess as you go, because depending on how fucked the athlete is when you start this, giving them 3 devolume sessions might not be enough. It could be they need full rest days. We also have the ability of, or the option of lowering their output. So if the athlete is doing super high cardio, pulling that cardio out or lowering it as you also give them a devolume probably is a wise choice, because I feel when you're trying to pull fatigue off of someone, you might as well do it efficiently, so you don't have to do it again in 4 days. So refeeding goes very well in hand with a devolume and the pull of cardio. Give them that day off, let them recover, and they'll be ready to go again, instead of doing things half-assed. I hate a long session. In contest prep, the worst thing I know is going into the gym and having fucking 9 exercises to go through. I literally park outside the gym and I look at it and I'm like, fuck, this is going to be a long one. I would rather go in a day more a week and only do 4 or 5 movements. Be in and out, be efficient, because the longer I spend in there, the more tired I get of it. So talk to the client about it, that 5 days might be, but adjusting someone's training split can be very useful. It could also be that pulling that day out of the gym, that obviously gives you a day more worth of resting. If someone have high cardio, that could be a good tool. But talk to your clients about what they would prefer, because I don't think there's a better way. We look at the weekly volume, obviously, but the majority of people have a mindset issue in prep. When people start losing performance, it's typically down to mindset. So whatever is more mentally easy for them to, handle is going to be the better choice, I think. And then the next session after that, I was able to do like 1 plate presses, and then you just build. As long as you can go in and send a little bit of stimuli, you're putting some blood in there, you're helping and you're progressing through that injury. There's some intensity techniques you can implement. When I had some issues with my shin in one prep where I wasn't able to do any type of leg press, squat, lunge. I couldn't put any weight on my shin. So I was just doing, it was horrible, but I was doing blood flow restricted leg extensions. I was doing like 150 rep sets. Probably the worst thing I've ever done. It was one set was like 10 minutes. It was terrible. It was something Callum did to torture me, I think. But obviously you get a ton of blood flow in there, you get a ton of stimuli, and at best, we're gonna keep muscle there. Visuals will decide if the stimuli provided from this injury training is going to be enough. If you're seeing that muscle just fade and fade and fade, you're gonna want to try and implement some sort of training that they can tolerate. Now, that intensity technique could also be isometrics. If someone's only able to load anything in here, they're not able to get into this position, just load it, put a load on there, hold it, hold that position. Whatever you can do to get the stimuli, you can. Potentially work with some bikini girls. It's typically bikini girls who need tons and tons and tons and tons of cardio to get stage ready. And at some point, they're gonna run out of time. Like, you can't do 4 hours of cardio in a day. I think the girl I used it with, she was on 2 hours of lists a day almost. And it was like, clen was maxed out, food was low, we're not really ready yet. So what we did was swap some of that for HIIT, because it's just going to burn more calories in a shorter time frame. And it might also, just like we talked about with the longer training sessions, for some, it might be easier mentally to do 15 minutes of this instead of doing 45 minutes of that, even though it's harder 15 minutes. So a little bit of a personal preference, but generally what we use is less because it's going to have the least impact on our training. It's going to be the lowest recovery impactful choice. Again, we have steps obviously too. I tell people do zone 2 cardio, and that is you should be able to hold a conversation, but you should not be able to sing. That's generally a good rule of thumb because heart rate will be in that middle zone. For most men, it's going to be like 120 to 140. And keep cardio separate from training if possible. There might not be an option if someone is extremely busy, but again, if we're speaking of what ideal situation would be, we're keeping cardio separate from training. I don't know if we skipped. I don't know if we skipped the slide or if I missed it, but there was some shave. These little things, like when I do a full body shave, be moving, some steps. If I'm in the kitchen and I'm like this, or I'm with my kid, like jumping her up and down, like that's activity. And that's what NEAT is, N-E-A-T. It's a non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So it's not necessarily counted as activity. It's non-exercise activity. So steps is more so making sure someone doesn't get lazy. So keeping that baseline. And for anyone prepping or for clients that but it's hard to get in these steps because you can use it as a tool. Instead of adding cardio, you can increase someone's steps. It's generally a wise idea to do it a little incrementally as you move through prep because people do get lighter. Small things like take the stairs instead of the elevator. Stop, get off the bus that stopped before and walk the last mile or whatever it is. There's all sorts of things you can do, or do the extra things at home, swing the vacuumer or clean the car or doing these things. That's an easy way of actually burning more calories in your day without actually going to train or do cardio on the feedback that you deliver to them. So the way you speak to your clients, and people will need very different types of feedback because people are very different. 50% of your job as a coach is being a mental coach or a psychologist when you're an athlete coach. Managing client motivation is super important, and there's many ways to do it, but you need to instill self-belief in people. Do not ever send someone a great and a thumbs up reply to their check-in and leave it be. Don't. You need to make them believe in themselves, and you need to give them a reason to keep training hard. Make sure, even though you may not think so, tell them that everything is okay, that they have faith in you. They trust you that they're going to cross the finish line in a good way. Obviously, be real when you need to be real. But you're the closest one they have in this. So the way you deliver your feedback and installing that self-belief and the motivation and the want to go and train hard, that comes from the coach. Because a lot of people will doubt themselves a lot in contest prep. And it's quite interesting. I've done this so many times now, and I've prepped so many people now that I can go through this prep now in a very objective manner. My last prep 3 years ago, I was not able to be objective. I was very subjective. I was looking at myself in the mirror all the time. I was a typical athlete. I was looking at myself in the mirror all the time. I was hoping I would get a refeed. I was doing all these athlete things. Right now, I couldn't care less about my prep. I am not thinking about my prep at all because I have so many things going on in my life. I am obviously prepping, so I am doing the stuff I need to do. I am doing an hour cardio a day. I am doing my steps. I am doing all that training, food, blah, blah, blah. But my business is expanding like crazy. I'm moving. I have a daughter. I have a dog. I have so many fucking things going on in my life. Taking on PT I didn't used to have. I have 15 hours of PTing on top of everything else. That I'm generally not thinking much about my prep. And now that I'm so close to the shows and I've zoomed out of it all, I've realized I've gone through this prep in a very objective manner because I've literally not spent any time thinking about the shows. That's one thing that I think could be contributing to me having the best prep I've ever had. Because other factors that you typically would think, what's going to make a good contest prep? Low stress environment. Nope. I am going through the most stressful time of my life ever, probably. I am having a very, very good contest prep because I'm not spending so much time thinking about it. I'm just going into the gym and doing what I would in the off season. It's just another day of training because my thoughts are everywhere else. People spend so much time in their head in prep. It fucks them up. Every athlete will be their own biggest enemy. So as a coach, make sure that you're the greatest ally. All right, guys. So we are back in the apartment now. We've been for an hour, maybe. So we went to the seminar, and I was speaking a little later than what we had anticipated. And so I went a little longer without food. So I ended up buying some Rice Krispie treats to keep me going, but I'm still, I'm preparing the third meal now. So today is 1,000 grams of carbs. So with this third meal now, that will take me just past 600 grams of carbs. I'm gonna repeat almost exactly the first meal I had because my stomach took that really well and has some good bowel movement. So we're gonna stick to what works, at least for now, with some crumpets and some oatmeal and then one of these potato bits things. But yeah, the seminar went well. So I have a tendency to get quite nervous when I get in front of people, center of attention, you know, especially when I have to get on stage for shows. That's been an issue. So when I got this opportunity to go and speak at a seminar 2 weeks out, it's like probably not ideal for the prep, but then again, it's an opportunity to, you know, come out to some new people, get some more experience and get in front of people and maybe take some of the worst nerves for when I get on stage in 14 days. Today's exactly 2 weeks out. But yeah, it went well. I didn't really think much about being nervous or anything, so that's a good sign. So yeah, I'm happy. Happy that I did it. Today's been a good day, very productive day. I'm actually happy with how much work I have still managed to get done. I feel like I won't say I'm ahead, but you know, with the week I have coming up where I'm gonna be packing down my apartment and moving in the next 7 days, I feel like I'm in a good position to do so, because obviously that's quite a task, being 2 weeks out, next weekend being 1 week out and having to move then. So yeah, I guess the rest of the day will be chilling, working, a little bit of steps because it's a lot of food, so getting some steps in between the meals. But just working, chilling, eating, a good night, chilling with Christian. So yeah, it's not often I get this amount of food at least. So yeah, catch you guys later. What's good, guys? We are on our way back to Denmark now. It is 6:45 here in Dublin, which is an hour behind Copenhagen. So if the flight's on time, we'll be back around 12 at noon. And I'm then gonna go back home and take visuals for Callum following yesterday's high day. So until then, I'm just fasting. I'm getting a little bit of caffeine, some water, some salt from the Monster. But yeah, we're about to head in, get checked in, find somewhere to sit and get started with today's check-ins. So it's been a pleasure, Dublin. It was a really nice day yesterday with the seminar, some good vibes, some good people there. So I'm happy we did this. It's been a good trip. We've got a lot of good content, especially from the seminar. And like I said yesterday, I had a great experience presenting for everyone. So thank you guys for watching as always.